don't do it. Don't. Stop it. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you wanted to join me today because today I'm going to take you guys through 17 things that contain hidden plastic that you might not have known about. And I am cosplaying as Mustard. I don't know. Also, the audio might be a little bit off, but that's because I'm moving out of my apartment and I've moved lots of furniture from my space here. So the sounds are bouncing off the walls in another way than what it's usually doing. So it sounds a little bit off and weird. I hope that we can deal with this. Let's get through this list of 17 things that contain hidden plastic. But before we do so, I have a couple of comments from the last video. And if you haven't watched that, perhaps go and watch that before watching this one, because I will make snarky comments throughout that reference the last video. First of all, in the last video I mentioned a couple of things that contained plastic, like Tetra Pak cartons, juice milk cartons, and also receipts. And a lot of you guys commented that in your area or in your region or in your country you are actually able to recycle them, or you are asked to put them in recycling with paper or cardboard. And that's easy to interpret as if the items do not actually contain plastic, but in fact, depending on what kind of recycling facility is available to you, there are different methods and techniques to separate materials, and that's what we do with paper or cardboard recycling. So perhaps a recycling plant in your area is able to separate the plastic from the paper and therefore recycle the paper, but there's still plastic in the product, and the plastic is most likely not being recycled because it's mixed material and that will just end up in landfill or in a waste to energy incinerator plant. I just wanted to make it clear that even though you can put something in the paper recycling, it can still be a mixed material. It all depends on the facility and the recycling options near you. It does not mean that there's no plastic in it. I just really wanted to make that clear in case someone was confused about that. Also, I, upon request from my last video, have put the list of all the 17 things that I'm going to talk about in the description. This is not going to be like a cheat sheet where I don't want you to watch the video, but a lot of you guys really seem to want a list as well. So it is in the description for ease. Let's get into the list. Alrighty-o. First item on the list is car tires. You might think that car tires are made from natural rubber, but in fact they contain plastic and they release microplastic every time that we use them. I don't want to ruin everyone's day, although these kinds of videos usually end up ruining someone's day. That's not why I'm here. But whenever we wear down a plastic product, for instance by driving it on the road, it will release microplastic because it will slowly just tear away of the material. And car tires are actually one of the primary sources of microplastic in the world because we drive a lot of cars. Of course also buses and bikes, but specifically cars because there can be less people in cars than in buses. I hope that makes sense. And but car tires release microplastic and also generally contains plastic. Number 2 is a beer. Am I cosplaying as beer as well? I don't know what this yellow color is doing for me. I kind of like it. I don't know. But in my last video, I talked about several food products, for instance, water and table salt, that contain plastic because microplastic has infiltrated our food systems and ecosystems which we use when we harvest food products. And beer is also one of them because beer is made from grains like wheat, and because microplastic has been integrated into our ecosystems, it will also end up in our food. And actually, when you find out which kinds of food products that are especially high in microplastic, beer is one of them. Another food product that is very high in microplastic is honey, because again, it's exactly the same explanation as before. Microplastic has infiltrated a lot of our food systems and a lot of our ecosystems, and that is something that deeply affects honey production and honeybees. So yeah, there can be plastic in honey. Number 4 is toothbrush bristles. That's a very hard word to say. So even on most sustainably made or bamboo, wooden, any kind of eco toothbrush, any toothbrush in general, usually have nylon bristles which are made from plastic, which is also why when you look up different kinds of recycling methods for bamboo toothbrushes, they require you to remove the bristles and throw them out as you normally would. It's still less waste than simply just buying plastic toothbrushes where everything is waste and everything is plastic. but there is still plastic in the majority of toothbrushes today. Why can't I say toothbrushes? Number 5 is Bandaids. Bandaids is one of those things that are actually completely made from plastic, but we pay very little attention to. And I remember when I had Bandaids on when I was a child, or even when I was like a young adult, I would have a Bandaid on and I would go to the beach or like a pool or in nature, and if it fell off, I wouldn't think too much about it. But that's actually littering, because Bandaids are made from plastic. You can also get plastic-free, eco-friendly Bandaids out there, but for the majority of the Bandaids that we use and that are available to most people who only shop in supermarkets, there aren't really any plastic-free alternatives out there. But I will leave a link to a sustainable Bandaid brand down below. Number 6 is money. Yeah, there's plastic in money. Most notes are coated with a piece of very thin plastic in order to make it water resistant. Then we have sewing thread. Sewing thread also sometimes contains plastic unless it's made from 100% recycled cotton. So that's also something to look out for. And if you're very crafty and DIY, maybe look out for 100% organic cotton thread instead of the cheapest thread that's out there, which will usually be a blend of cotton or polyester. Number 8 is fireworks. I don't think this comes as a shock to anyone, but fireworks contain a lot of plastic, and whenever we light up the sky, that plastic is going to fall out everywhere, in nature, in rural areas, in urban areas. It doesn't really matter because it's fireworks and it goes everywhere. And it's such a big pet peeve of mine. In Denmark, everyone is able or allowed to fire fireworks during New Year's Eve, and the streets are just littered with plastic remains from that firework party the next day, and it hurts me so much, and it keeps being there for such a long time. And when you go out into nature, with almost complete certainty, you will always be able to find a piece of plastic, at least one piece of plastic, that is very visibly coming from a piece of firework. The eco-friendly alternative, just don't do it, don't do it. Then we have paint. A lot of paint that we use both on the outside of our homes and on the inside of our homes is a plastic blend. It's made from a polymer that's mixed with the different kinds of pigments and tons of other chemicals and ingredients, but most importantly, there's also plastic in it. You can get organic plastic-free paints that are naturally derived and that are much more healthier also for your living environment. But most conventional paints come with plastic components as well, which is also why you shouldn't ever just dump it anywhere. It's like, no. Number 10 is foil packaging. You know, like when your crisps come in a little bag and it's kind of like shiny silvery on the inside and it seems like it's aluminium. It's actually a metallic plastic coating. And some places you can recycle it as plastic, and other places you have to throw it in landfill. So that's one of the snacks that I very rarely have, because it's almost impossible to find an eco-friendly packaging for crisps. Boom, boom, boom. 11 is stickers. Every kind of sticker basically comes with plastic components, unless it's supernatural, unless it's a very natural, organic, eco with some natural glue, paste, something on it. But most conventional stickers come with either plastic in the glue or plastic on a shiny surface on top to make it water resistant, so it will keep sticking to whatever it's sticking to. And that both goes for like fun wallpaper stickers, for produce stickers that comes on your veg and your fruit, basically everything. So I try to avoid these stickers as much as I can, and if I cannot completely avoid them, I'm also not tearing myself up, because it's it's a little tiny piece of waste. But if it's unnecessary, you can avoid it, you could try to. Number 12 is light bulbs. Yeah, light bulbs you may never ever throw out with your landfill or waste to energy like normal daily trash, because there are tons of components in there and they have to be recycled accordingly. And there is also plastic inside light bulbs. Then we have styrofoam and generally takeaway containers. Styrofoam is just a type of plastic, and what we do to plastic to make it look like styrofoam, to make it be styrofoam, makes it completely unrecyclable. The thing about styrofoam is that it is the least food safe material out there, and we use it for takeout all the time. It's really weird. When we put hot things in styrofoam, it will release toxins. And those toxins are hormone disruptors and carcinogens, and it's really bad. So try to avoid styrofoam generally, it's a really good idea. But a lot of other takeout containers that look like cardboard also have thin plastic layers on the inside and on the outside as well sometimes, in order to make it heat and water resistant. Number 14 is coffee filters. Coffee filters, you know, those small, neat little paper ones. Just as with tea bags from the last video, they contain a thin layer of plastic to make them more water resistant, because otherwise the paper would simply dissolve in a matter of seconds. Then we have deep freeze packaging. Deep freeze packaging, which is also very hard to say, or maybe I just am no good with the words I don't know. But even cardboard or paper packaging that is usually like stored in the freezing compartment of the supermarket and your freezer contain a thin layer of plastic for the same reason as many of the other items on this list. It's simply to avoid the paper or cardboard dissolving in on itself during storage, especially if it's defrosted a little bit and then it's frozen again, and that can do some things to the quality of the packaging that will simply just make it go, no thank you. So it contains plastic, and yeah. Number 16, coloring pencils. Coloring pencils and pens in general sometimes contain plastic. They contain plastic, especially if they are lead based, and there will be a thin layer or core of plastic in the lead part of the pencil in order to make it break resistant and to make it last longer. So that's another place where you will actually be able to find plastic. And the last one, which is something that I was like, no, why would you do this to me, is tattoo ink. Some tattoo ink, some brands of tattoo ink incorporate plastic components into their formula, and they do so in order to create pigments with very, very vibrant colors and to make sure that those vibrant colors really stick to your skin. It is a plastic that has high qualities with heat resistance, and it's something that's often used in luggage and pipe fittings and appliances, and yeah, you can also find that in your skin, and as a result some people can have severe allergic reactions to those specific types of inks. But you can find out on the back if it does have that sort of ink. I believe that it will be labeled under ABS. Shoots. That is my list of 17 things that contain plastic, and perhaps you didn't know some of them. I definitely learned something new here. I would also just like to point out that if you're sitting with a giant black hole in your stomach now, just like, I can never do anything right ever again, no. This is not what this video is about. It's not about being perfect and avoiding every type of plastic all the time. That's basically impossible. It's about knowing where plastic comes from and the impact plastic has on the planet, and it's about information and you now having that information. Don't tear yourself up if you drove a bus yesterday and that released microplastic, or if you chewed gum half a year ago. Don't beat yourself up. This is not to make you feel depressed or demotivated. Au contraire, it is to make you informed and like give you some inspiration and motivation to sort of change the little things and to make small but very impactful changes. I hope this video helped. If you want to know more about how to live plastic free and how to take steps towards living plastic free, check out some of my other videos about small and big zero waste actions that have huge impact. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video. Leave me a comment telling me something that contains plastic that I did not mention in this video, and like this video if you liked it. That would make my day so much. Thank you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Take really good care of yourselves. Until then, bye. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye.